Hello, my name is Kira, and today I'm going to show you how to crochet this adorable Triceratops. This is a Loso pattern, and I cannot wait to share it with you guys. If you're a beginner, go ahead and check out the videos I have linked below with instructions on how to make a magic ring and other stitches that will be used in this pattern. You will also find the link to purchase the PDF version of this pattern below if you're interested in that. Let's go ahead and get started. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to make this adorable Triceratops. However, I am going to send you to a different video to make the body, and then you will come back to this video once you have that finished to make the head, make the tail on the body, and add some of the other details. So in just a second, I will be putting a video up on the screen, and this is just like a generic body that I use for lots of my patterns. So when you're making the body, you want to make sure that you're using yarn colors that you want to make for your dinosaur, and you can just kind of ignore the colors that I'm using on the body in the video, if that makes sense. I also decided not to make the bottom of my hands and feet different colors than the rest of the body, but you're totally welcome to do that if you'd like. Here is the yarn that I'm using today. In today's video, I will be using Big Twist Posh yarn in the color Oyster Mushroom and Croissant, and Big Twist Baby Bear yarn in the color White.
For supplies, you will also need a pair of scissors, a stitch marker, and an embroidery needle, 20mm safety eyes, a 5mm crochet hook or whichever hook size works best for your yarn, and some polyfill stuffing.
So I will see you back here in just a second once you have your body all completed. Now I'm going to show you how to make the horns for your dinosaur. So you want to start by making 4 single crochet in a magic ring. And then I'm going to make a round of 4 single crochet around. So these do get a little bit tricky because there's not very many stitches in the round, but just do your best to make 4 single crochet. And then in this next round, I'm going to make 1 single crochet and then an increase stitch 2 times. So I'm just going to make a single crochet into my next stitch and then an increase stitch. And then I'm going to do that one more time. So this is inside out still because I never got a chance to flip it right side out. So to flip it right side out, I'm just going to insert my hook down to the base here and try to grab this tail from my magic ring. I'm going to grab that onto my hook and pull it through. And then I'm going to hold this tail from my magic ring that we just pulled through, and then try to grab all the edges of this and see if I can get it to flip to be the right side out. This can be a little tricky as well because you don't want to break that yarn off, but you do want it to flip for you. So once you get that flipped to the right side out, then you just want to take your hook and do the same thing. Grab the tail from the magic ring and pull it back to the inside of your work so that it's hidden in the horn. And then I'm just going to cut the extra tail off from my magic ring. And then to close this off, I'm going to make 2 single crochet through both sides of the horn. So I'm going to put my hook in the next stitch and then go all the way across to the other side and go through a stitch on that side. And then I'm just going to make a single crochet through there, and then I'm going to do that one more time. Same thing, just going through a stitch on both sides and then a single crochet, and then you can go ahead and tie off your yarn. So here is one of the little horns, and you want to go ahead and repeat that 2 more times to make 3 horns total. So you just want to repeat all the same steps until you have 3 of these little guys for your dinosaur, and then you can just set them aside until we need them when we start working on the head. So to make the head, I'm just using this kind of brown colored yarn here, and I'm going to start by making 6 single crochet in a magic ring. For the next round, I'm just going to make 6 increased stitches all the way around. And remember, an increased stitch is just 2 single crochet into the same stitch. So I'm going to do that 6 times. So I'm going to go ahead and place my stitch marker, and just for reference, I like to place my stitch marker in the last stitch of the round rather than the first stitch of the round. For the next round, I'm going to make 1 single crochet and then an increased stitch, and I'm going to repeat that 6 times all the way around. So 1 single crochet and then an increased stitch, and then I'm going to do that 5 more times. For the next round, I'm going to make 2 single crochet and then an increased stitch, and I'm going to repeat that 6 times all the way around. So 1, 2 single crochet and then an increased stitch. And then I'm going to do that 5 more times. For the next round, I'm going to make 3 single crochet and then an increased stitch, and I'm going to repeat that 6 times all the way around. So 1, 2, and 3 single crochet and then an increased stitch. And then I'm going to do that 5 more times. For the next round, I'm going to make 4 single crochet and then an increased stitch and repeat that 6 times all the way around. So just 1, 2, 3, 4 single crochet and then an increased stitch. And then I'm going to do that 5 more times. And then for the last round of our increases here, I'm going to do 5 single crochet and then an increase stitch, and I'm going to repeat that 6 times all the way around. So the same thing that we've been doing. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 single crochet and then an increase stitch, and then you just want to repeat that 5 more times. In this next round, we are going to start by making 7 single crochet. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then we're going to make 28 single crochet only in the back loops of our stitches. And later we are going to be using these front loops to surface crochet on the dinosaur's head. So if you want to place a stitch marker in these stitches to help you find them later, that might be helpful. I'm going to do that now. So I'm just putting a stitch marker in that front loop there, of just the front loop. And for the next 28 single crochet, I'm only going to be going into this back loop. So just the back loop, just like that. And then I'll make my single crochet. So there's 1, and I'm going to do that 27 more times, just in the back loops. 2, 3, 4, 5, 28. So I just finished my 28 single crochet in the back loops only, and on my last stitch that I just completed here, I'm going to put another stitch marker into the front loop from that stitch, just so that I'm able to find it later when we need it. So it might be kind of hard to see here, but these loops here that we left, these are our front loops from the last round that we just completed, and we will be crocheting into these later on. So these stitch markers are just going to help me be able to find them when we do start working on that part of the head. And then to finish off the round, I'm just going to do 7 regular single crochet through both the loops. For the next round, I'm just going to make 42 single crochet around, just regular single crochet. I'm going to go ahead and do this round off camera, but I'll be back once I've done 42 single crochet around. So I just finished my round of 42 single crochet around, and in this next round we are going to be crocheting the horns into the head. So the first thing you want to do is start by making 14 single crochet. And then I'm going to grab one of my horns and I'm going to flip my project so that my pretty side is facing outwards. So I have my pretty side up and then I have my horn here, and I'm just going to flip this so that the bottom of the horn, where we closed it up with 2 single crochet, is facing up and lined up with my next 2 stitches of the head. And then to attach them, I'm just going to make 2 single crochet through both the horn and the head. So there's one, and then going into the next stitch on my horn and the next stitch on my head, and there is 2 single crochet. So you can see now that the horn is attached on there just where we want it. And then we're going to make 10 more regular single crochet, and then we'll attach the second horn. For the next horn, we're going to attach it the exact same way. So you want to just take it and line it up with your head, and then you're going to go through the next stitch on the horn and the next stitch on the head and make 2 single crochet through both of these pieces. So there's 1 and 2. And then to finish off the round, I'm just going to make 14 more single crochet. So now you can see you have your little horns attached on here, and if you would like, if your horns feel like they're not very secured, you can use this tail to kind of reinforce the connection with your embroidery needle. Just kind of make some stitches connecting those two. I think mine are secured on there pretty good, so I'm not going to worry about that. But here is my horns all on, and we're ready to start the next round. For the next round, we're going to start by making 7 single crochet. And then I'm going to make 1 decrease stitch. And then I'm going to make another 22 single crochet across the top of our head here. And then I'm going to make another decrease stitch. And then I'm just going to finish off my round with 9 single crochet. For the next round, I'm going to start by making 6 single crochet. And then I'm going to make a decrease stitch. So now we're going to make 3 single crochet and then a decrease stitch 4 times across the top of our head. So we're going to start with 1, 2, 3 single crochet and then a decrease stitch. And then I'm going to do that 3 more times across the top. And then I'm going to make 2 single crochet, and then 2 decrease stitches, and then I'm just going to finish off the round with 6 more single crochet. For the next round, I'm going to start by making 2 single crochet, and then a decrease stitch, and then 5 single crochet, and then we're going to make a decrease and 3 single crochet 3 times. So I'm going to make 1 decrease stitch, and then 3 single crochet, and then I'm going to do that 2 more times. So another decrease stitch, then I'm going to do 5 single crochet, a decrease stitch, and then I'm just going to finish off the round with 2 single crochet. For this next round, I'm going to make 8 single crochet, and then 2 decrease stitches, and 2, and then I'm just going to make 4 single crochet across the top of my head. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then I'm going to make another 2 decrease stitches, and then I'm just going to finish off the round with another 8 single crochet. For the next round, I'm going to start by making 11 single crochet, and then I'm going to make a decrease stitch, and then I'm going to finish the round with 11 more single crochet. For the next round, I'm going to start by making 11 single crochet. And then I'm going to make 2 single crochet through my last horn. So this one will be kind of on like the tip of the nose. So the same way that we did the horns on the top of the head, I'm just going to go through both pieces and make 2 single crochet through both. So there's 1 and 2. Just like that, and then I'm just going to finish off the round with 10 more single crochet. So now is a good time to go ahead and start stuffing our head and adding our safety eyes. I do like to stuff the head before I add safety eyes, but feel free to do whatever is easier for you. So I'm going to go ahead and add some stuffing into here. I'm going to place my safety eyes in between rounds 14 and 15, about 7 stitches apart. So feel free to just play around with them until you think that they look good where they are at, and you just really want to make sure that they are centered on your face before you snap them in. So I think these look about good to me, so I'm just going to go ahead and place my backings on them. So for this next round, I'm going to make 2 single crochet and then a decrease stitch, and I'm going to do that 5 times. And then at the end of the round, I'm just going to make 1 single crochet and a decrease stitch. So 1, 2 single crochet and then a decrease stitch. And then I'm going to repeat that 4 more times. And then at the end of the round here, I'm just going to make 1 single crochet and a decrease stitch. For the next round, I'm going to make 1 single crochet and then a decrease stitch and repeat that 5 times. And then at the end of the round, I'm just going to make 1 decrease stitch. So this will just be 1 single crochet and a decrease stitch. And I'm going to do that 4 more times. And then at the end of the round here, I'm just going to make 1 decrease stitch. Now is another good time to add some more stuffing. So I'm just going to tuck a little bit more stuffing in there. And then to finish this off, I'm going to make 5 decrease stitches and then 1 single crochet all the way around. So 5 decrease stitches. And then at the end of the round here, I'm just going to make 1 single crochet. And then you can go ahead and tie off your yarn, and you just need to leave a small tail so that we can close up this hole that we have left here. So once you have all of your stuffing in and you're happy with how it looks, you can just thread this tail that we left here onto your embroidery needle. And to close up this hole, I'm just going to insert my needle and pull it through. And I'm going to go back and forth between all 6 of these stitches, weaving in and out. So there's out, and then I'm going to go back in, and then back out in the next stitch, and then one more time in and out. And once you've gone through all 6 stitches, then you can just pull this tight to close off that hole. And then I'm just going to take this tail and thread it somewhere towards the back of the head just so it's out of the way. And then you can cut off the extra and weave the tail into the head. So here is the kind of base part of our head all finished. We still do have quite a few details to add. So the next thing we're going to do is shape the face. You can see that the pattern already it creates a divot here, and then it comes out a little bit to make the nose, and we're just going to reinforce that. So I just have a scrap piece of this brown colored yarn on my needle, and I'm going to insert this from the top inside corner of one of my eyes all the way over to the top inside corner of the other eye. And this might be a little bit difficult. So I'm just going to thread that through there. And make sure to leave a little bit of a tail on this end. And then I'm going to go back into the inside bottom corner of this eye that I just came out at, and back to the inside bottom corner of the other eye over here. And then pull that through. And then I'm just going to tie these 2 ends together, and that is going to bring my eyes together. So feel free to tie this as tight as you'd like and as close as you want your eyes to come together. And then I'm just going to tuck these tails into my head using the back of my embroidery needle. So now with another piece of this brown scrap yarn, we're going to bring the nose down a little bit here. So I'm going to insert this at the bottom of the head, kind of where the chin would go. And I'm going to have it come up at the bottom inside corner of one of my eyes. And again, make sure to leave a little bit of a tail through here. And then I'm going to have this go behind the horn on the nose and back down in by the inside corner of this eye to the bottom of the chin. And you do want to leave just a couple of stitches in between where you inserted your yarn and where you have it come out on the chin. So once you have both your ends coming out of the chin, then you can just tie them together, and feel free to tie these as tight as you like. Like I mentioned earlier, it's going to pull that nose down just a little bit there. So I think this looks about good for me, so I'm just going to tie off my yarn and then weave the ends into the head. So I just have 2 scrap pieces of white yarn here, and I'm going to thread this onto my embroidery needle, and we're going to use this to make some white details around the eyes. So I'm going to insert this at the top center of one of my eyes and then have it just come out somewhere on the side of the head to get it out of the way. I'm going to pull that off my needle and rethread it onto the other end of my yarn, and this just kind of gives you more control of where you have the yarn coming in and out. So then I'm going to go in at the bottom center of my eye, out to the same place on the side of the head where you had your yarn come out the first time. And then there is my little white detail on the eye, and then I can just tie these two ends together and weave them into the head. And you also want to make sure that you repeat this on the other eye as well. So the next thing that we are going to do on our head is add the frill. I think it's called the frill on our Triceratops, which is just a little thing that kind of sticks out and goes around the head. So to make the frill, this is where we're going to be using these loops here that we left earlier in the pattern, our front loops. And the first thing I'm going to do is take my stitch marker out, and I just have a slip knot on my hook here with this brown yarn, and I'm going to insert that into my first stitch. So I'm just going to insert my hook into my first front loop where my stitch marker was. Hope you guys can see where those are at. It's this row of front loops right here. And I'm going to make a single crochet. And then the first thing we're going to do is just make 28 single crochet in each of those front loops that we left across the top of the head. So that was one. I'm going to go into my next front loop, and there is two. And I'm going to do this until I've made 28. 3, 4, So I just did my 28 single crochet in my front loops, and this is what I have. And then I'm going to chain one and turn my project over. And then starting in the second stitch from my hook, which is this one here, so 1, 2, I'm going to make 3 single crochet. In the next stitch, I'm going to make 4 double crochet all into the same stitch. So if you don't know how to do a double crochet, you yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over again and pull up a loop, and now you have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops, and then yarn over and pull through the next 2 loops. So that is 1 double crochet, and I'm going to do 4 all into this same stitch. And 1 more. So there is my 4 double crochet into the same stitch, and then I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to make 2 decrease stitches in the next 2 stitches. So this is going to kind of give us like some ruffles on the top here. This can be a little bit tricky with these stitches here, but you just want to do your best. So I did, okay. So now I'm going to make 2 decrease stitches. Maybe. There we go. So there's one, and then another one. And then I'm going to chain one and repeat this pattern again. So in the next stitch, I'm going to make 4 double crochet all into the same stitch. So there's one, two, into the same stitch, there's 3, and into the same stitch there is 4, and then I'm going to chain one and then make 2 decrease stitches in the next 2 stitches. So there's one. And another one. And then I'm just going to continue to repeat this pattern 2 more times. So chain 1, 4 double crochet into the same stitch, and then chain 1, 2 decrease stitches into the next 2 stitches, and then again chain 1, 4 double crochet into the same stitch, and then on this last one here, I'm just going to do the 4 double crochet in 1, and then instead of doing the decreases, I'm going to just make 4 single crochet to finish off the round. So here is what mine is looking like after that round, and feel free to continue this as much as you'd like to make this wider or longer. But for this next round, I'm just going to make a chain stitch. I'm just going to chain 1, go into the second stitch from my hook, and then I'm going to single crochet all the way across. Okay, so that should be about 42 single crochet. So now that I'm at the end, I'm just going to tie off this color. And if you'd like, this is an optional step. You can use this tail that you've left on this end and the tail that's here from when you started to kind of stitch this part here flat into the head so it comes around a little bit. That's completely optional. So to finish off our frill, I just have a slip knot with the white yarn on my hook, and I'm going to insert this at the end of our frill here. And I'm going to make one single crochet just to anchor this in. And then I'm going to make single crochets until I get to, if you can see these little bumps that we've created here. When I get to the top of a bump, I'm going to make a triple crochet. So I'm just going to crochet until I get to the top of the bump. So for me, that was 6 single crochet or 5 single crochet. And then when I'm at kind of this peak here of my bump, I'm going to make a triple crochet. So to make a triple crochet, you want to yarn over your hook 2 times and then insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, yarn over and pull through 2 loops again, and then yarn over one more time and pull through those last 2 loops. And then I'm gonna chain 1, actually I'm gonna chain 2, and then go down to back to making my single crochets. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and then so I'm at the top of my next bump, and I'm going to do the same thing, yarn over twice, insert my hook into the stitch, and make a triple crochet. And then I'm just gonna chain 2 and go back to doing my single crochet. So I'm just gonna repeat this all the way across on all of my little bumps. And what that triple crochet is doing is just creating a little spike here on the top, which I think is adorable. But I'm just going to continue to do this all the way across the top of the frill. So once you have gone all the way around, then I'm just going to tie off my yarn here. And as I mentioned earlier, if you would like for these little ends to stick straight out here, you can just weave these into these tails into the frill. But if you'd like, you can put those onto your embroidery needle and stitch them down to the head so that the bottom of the frill kind of wraps around the head a little bit. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna take this brown tail that I have on my embroidery needle and then lay this frill flat on the head facing the front of the head. And then I'm just gonna make a couple of stitches to secure that down. And then once I have that sewn on, I'm just gonna tie off this yarn. And then I'm just gonna tuck this tail into my head. And weave in any of the ends that are sticking out. And then with this white end, I'm just doing the same thing. There's no need to tie it down, so I'm just gonna tuck it in. And then on this other side, I'm gonna repeat this again with these other two tails. Just stitch this bottom part onto the head and weave all the extra tails into the head. So here is my dino's head all finished. This is so cute. I'm just obsessed with this little guy. So the next thing I'm going to show you how to do is make the tail, and then we will put the whole thing together by sewing our head and our tail onto the body. So to make the tail, I'm going to show you using this blue yarn because I'm also making a blue dinosaur. But you would want to use the color of yarn that you used for your dinosaur's body. So to make the tail, the first thing I'm going to do is start by making 4 single crochet into a magic ring. And then I'm going to make 4 single crochet around. And then this is where I'm gonna place my stitch marker. And for the next round, I'm gonna make 1 single crochet and then an increase stitch, and I'm gonna repeat that 2 times. Now we are gonna continue to increase just like this for the next 9 rounds, so we'll have done 10 total. So for the next round, I'm gonna do 2 single crochet and then an increase 2 times, and then the round after that will be 3 single crochet and an increase 2 times. And so we're just gonna repeat this pattern. So now I'm gonna do 2 single crochet and then an increase, stitch 2 times. For the next round, I'm going to make 3 single crochet and then an increase stitch 2 times to go around. Now I'm going to do 4 single crochet and then an increase 2 times. The next round is going to be 5 single crochet and then an increase stitch, and you want to repeat that 2 times to go around. The next round is going to be 6 single crochet and then an increase stitch, and you'll do that one 2 times to go all the way around. For the next round, I'm going to make 7 single crochet and then an increased stitch 2 times to go all the way around. For the next round, I'm going to make 8 single crochet and then an increased stitch 2 times to go all the way around. For the next round, I'm going to make 9 single crochet and then an increase 2 times to go all the way around. And then again, for the next round, I'm going to make 10 single crochet and then an increased stitch and repeat that 2 times to go all the way around. For the next round, I'm going to start by making 3 single crochet, and then I'm going to make 7 increased stitches. And then I'm going to make 4 single crochet. And then in these last 10 stitches, I'm going to make 5 decreased stitches. So now I'm going to go ahead and turn this right side out. So I'm just going to tuck that down as good as I can at the tip of the tail. And then I'm going to take the tail from my magic ring and pull it to the outside because we're going to use that in a little bit to help give the tail a little bit of a curve. So I'm just going to pull that out to the outside and then leave it for now. And for the next round, you're just going to single crochet all the way around. So I'm going to do this round off camera, but you just want to single crochet all the way around the top of the tail, and then you can tie off your yarn. So I just finished my 26 single crochet around, and now's a good time to tie off your yarn, and you want to leave a pretty good sized tail so that we can sew this onto the body. But for now, you can just set this aside. So I'm currently editing this video and I cannot find the footage I recorded of me sewing on the tail. So here's a picture of what my tail looks like all attached to the body, and as you can see, I sewed it onto the bottom center of the body. And when you're sewing on your tail, make sure to add some stuffing. Like, you want to make sure it's really nice and stuffed around the base of the tail. And then with the tail that I had you leave out on the outside from the magic ring, with that I used my embroidery needle to weave it in and out all the way up the tail until I got to the base of the tail connected to the body. And then when you pull this tight, it'll kind of give the bottom of your tail a little bit of a curve. So I did that just to give my tail a little bit of a curve, and then you just want to tie that off and weave it into the body. I really hope that all makes sense, and you guys can always reach out to me if you have any questions at all, and I'd be more than happy to help. So I have my dinosaur's body here, and to sew on the head, I'm going to use the tail that we left on the body. I'm just going to thread this onto my embroidery needle. I'm going to do my very best to show you this, but what I like to do to sew on the head is put my head in place where I want it. I just have this kind of centered on the body, and then I'm going to take a stitch from the head with my embroidery needle and pull it through, and then I'm going to go into the next stitch on the body, and pull that through, and then go into the next stitch on the head. And I'm just going to continue this way all the way around the head until my head is fully attached. So I will be right back once I have his head all sewn on. So I'm on my last couple stitches here, and I'm just going to tie off my yarn. Like that, and then I'm just going to tuck this in and weave the end into my body to get it all out of the way. Okay, so here is your sweet little Triceratops all finished. This is such a cute pattern. I really hoped you guys enjoyed making this as much as I did. And if you do make this pattern, I would absolutely love to see your photos, so you can tag me on Instagram at Crochet with Kira. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.